Right, so welcome back to New Day. We're still live. Remember when you're tweeting at us to use the hashtag TV3 New Day. We're talking about your health and self-medication. I know that it's not every drug that you can go, what they call over-the-counter drugs. Yes, they can give it to. There are some that aren't. But in Ghana, even regulation is so lax. I have a pharmacist with me in the studio. We'll be talking to actually two. Francis Yeboah Ban-Yeboah is a senior pharmacist at Agogo Presbyterian Hospital. Good morning to you and welcome to the show. And also Emmanuel Dixon Tufo is a national president for the Physician Assistant Students Association of Ghana. What exactly do you do? What does that mean? Assistants. What does that mean? You assist?
No, we don't assist. But we are medical personnel that sees cases just like doctors. We diagnose, treat cases, and also serve as administrators at the sub-district level.
Okay. I know that it's not every drug, right, that is given over the counter, even abroad. But here you don't see that. You go, a pharmacist yourself, qualified pharmacist, will sell to you. I tell them, oh, you're seeing some discharge. And then they will tell you what you want. Why is that? Don't they train you like that in your association? Not to.
Thank you very much and good morning to all your viewers.
Sure.
Back to what you were saying, it's not as if we are not trained that way. We are trained that way. But then the reality also is that drugs are not only classified broadly as over-the-counter and then prescription only. Okay. There's what we call pharmacist-mediated drugs, okay, or pharmacist-only drugs. They fall in between the two, okay. We mostly call them Class B drugs. And these are drugs that you can talk to a qualified pharmacist, as you are saying, in his pharmacy, and based on the clinical appropriateness of that medication for you, the patient, he could issue it to you without necessarily getting a written prescription from a doctor. So some of the cases you're talking about could fall into that. But then there are others that are strictly prescription-only medications and can only be served with a prescription from a doctor. Okay, all
right. For you, is it, for instance, headache, coughing, malaria? Even malaria now I know is test, treat, and track malaria, right? Is it every drug that if somebody walks in and says, yeah, I have a headache, would you give them? Or what would you not prescribe?
Okay, we have drugs are grouped under A, B, and C. According to the Pharmacy Act, Section 35 specifies that Group A drugs cannot be administered by a pharmacist or dispensary technician without prescription. Group B drugs can only be prescribed if the pharmacist is convinced that the recipient needs the drug at all cost.
Convince, how do you? Because if I am feeling, if I am discharging, you've got to see and examine it. Yeah. So how do you determine? Are you convinced? Yeah, you want to answer?
No, you see, we've got medications that are grouped under each of them. Sure. Okay. So you are citing a specific example.
Exactly.
It has where it falls. Okay. So
where does it fall? And then you can answer.
No, it's if you complaining of a discharge, it depends on what exactly it is. Okay.
So let's stay on this, right? Okay. It's creamish. It itches a bit. Yeah, I tell you that you haven't seen it, but I'm telling you what I'm experiencing. What would you do?
As a matter of fact, that is a condition that needs to be examined by a doctor. Most appropriately, it's even supposed to be a gynecologist himself. But you and I know our level of health care. Okay, so what we do is to do a follow-up treatment of an initial encounter with a prescriber. Okay, so you've been with him for the first time and there is a clear diagnosis of what you have in. Okay, you can come. We could recommend, even we at a community level, we are exposed to different brands of the same drug. Okay, so probably you've been given fluconazole the first time, it didn't work, and you come. We could advise and even give you another brand, more like a superior brand of it. Okay, but for me to just at the pharmacy level, we will just not go straight into, because it could be due to so many other conditions, so many other gynecological issues.
Is self-medication itself, is it a bad thing?
Yes, it's a very bad thing. Because we have a condition that we call Stevens-Johnson's disease. Normally, it's most common. What happens is about 73% of the general population react to sulfur drugs. Some common sulfur drugs are Septrin, Malafan used to treat malaria. So what happens is, assuming I'm part of the 3% and you are not part, you will take the medication, but it will do nothing to you. But I will take it and then start reacting to it. Stevens-Johnson's disease is actually a fatal toxic epidemic necrolysis, such that the superficial layer of the skin separates from the deeper layer.
Okay, so put it simply.
So at the end of the day,
people at home
there will
can
be
peeling
away of the skin.
Yes,
it results in blindness, permanent blindness, and then oral sores, which is irreversible.
Okay.
Okay, just to add to what he says, you see, there's something that we call rational use of medicines. Okay, and even at the WHO level, it's something that is of much essence, because it requires that every patient will receive a medication that is appropriate to his clinical needs, okay, in doses that meet his individual requirements over a period that is appropriate for him and at the lowest cost to him and his community. Okay, so if self-medication is something that goes against this rational use of medications, because the patient will just come in without any prior knowledge and deeper knowledge of even what he is going through, and may just point to something that, I want this, and if you are not careful and you give that, it might go against the clinical needs of the patient. So self-medication in reality is not something that we need to encourage. Even for over-the-counter medications, that is why there are people trained to assess how appropriate that medication is for you before it is issued.
Have you been able to find out which brackets of the age group abuse drugs? I mean, do self-medication? Have you been able to?
Yes.
Which brackets?
I must say,
there's a question I want to, but I want to get a confirmation of that. And
okay.
Which brackets of the age group?
The first has to do with the youth and the younger generation. Okay, and there are specific class of drugs that these range of people are attracted to.
Like?
Okay, one has to do with, for instance, a range of pain relievers we call the opioids, which stimulate, which works on the brain in a way as to give you that euphoric feeling and all that. You understand? And most of our youth, you know, for whatever reason, even though sees that as a legal means of enhancing their feeling, okay? And so a lot of people are being attracted to this class of medications. Okay. Then the steroids and some others also are very much. And then for the older generation, they are very much into the pain relievers because of their advanced age and at their level, you know, they are very prone to most cases of pains and other things. So they are mostly always running in for pain relievers.
You wanted to add something to that?
To add up to the youth, you realize we have some emergency contraceptives and then abortifacients. Emergency contraceptive, you can talk of Prostano 2. You know, after having unprotected sex, they just take it and then in a form of abuse, because they wouldn't go to the hospital for the doctor to prescribe. Okay. And then there are abortifacients to the common drug that we call cytotec. We medics, we call it misoprostol. So they'll go and then patronize it if the contraceptive doesn't work and then results in pregnancy. So they will take it and then...
And you have a seminar coming up? Do you have a seminar?
Yes, we have a seminar coming up.
When is that?
Coming Friday.
This Friday?
Yes.
What exactly will it address?
The theme is pharmacology, the greatest tool for the prescriber. Okay. Actually, 8 universities are coming together to organize it. The venue is at GRN Secretariat, Shiashi, coming Friday, 7 a.m. And then the next day, which is the medical outreach. Seminar. Yeah, the next day, we are reaching out to the communities. We are going to Jamestown, Bukom, offer free medical outreach and services to them, educate them on the importance of coming to the hospital before taking medication and the effects of self-medication.
Okay, all right. I want to thank both of you for coming to our studios. Unfortunately, we don't have a lot of, we've run out of time. My producers tell me. Francis Bayabua is a senior pharmacist at Agogo Presbyterian Hospital. Thank you very much for coming. And also Emmanuel Dixon Tufo is the National President, Physician Assistant Students Association of Ghana. Yes, so live on TV3, it's New Day.